he was our third baseman. He didn't start for us, but again, he was there every day, day in, day out. And he played one game. He played one game for the JV this year, and they won when they needed a few of our players. And you know, I wanted to thank him for going to play for him. But Adam Stern. I just want to point something out. A lot of guys get on my case because sometimes I say to them they have bad attitudes. I mean, sometimes I do get very emotional. It's just that, you know, I hate to lose. And I know it's at the freshman level, but sometimes I do get out of hand and I apologize. But all in all, they do have a good attitude. Next player is who's our catcher. And he wanted to tell you that I always got on his case, but I only did it for one reason, because he has potential. And, you know, a lot of times he probably couldn't stand me, but towards the end of the year he started hitting the ball very good, and he was our catcher. And he too, who knows, he may be on varsity next year, but he has a lot of potential. Jeffrey Stern. Thank everybody again. And the freshman team, they do have a lot of potential. And you want a new word? No, it's what you want out of it. And if you guys want to win next year, you will win. Because I remember when I first came around, you guys were like, oh, we're going to lose again, like football and basketball. And if you think like that, sure, you're going to lose. But towards the middle of the season, you guys started to believe you can win. And next year, just always remember, you guys are winners. But if you start to think that you're losers, sure, you're going to be losers. But you guys do have potential, and just don't forget that. And I'd just like to say thank you.
Gary and Tony, this is going to be a tough act to follow. Thank you, gentlemen. It's a nice job. I'm very proud of what you accomplished this year. Gentlemen, congratulations. Looking for big things out of a lot of potential in this table right now. And we're looking for a lot of good things from you next year. Okay. To move things right along, I want to bring up our JV coach, and I hope he stays with us for quite a few years to come. He's an excellent coach. He's a true gentleman. And really cares about the kids. And that's Gary Green, our JV coach. Gary?
Lucky or not, I noticed I had 7 or 8 players here, so reminded me a little bit of a game day. we had some problems fielding people for practices and games from time to time, but by the end of the season, it all came around. And I think the guys learned some valuable lessons about commitment to team and to each other, and to themselves as well, as far as responsibility is concerned. Many things were learned this season, obviously, things like hitting the cutoff man, getting in front of the ground ball, things like that. But perhaps the most important thing was learning when we have practice and come to practice. When we have game, you come to the game. It's got to be a priority. I think they learned that, and I think that will be a great assistance to them next year when they play for the varsity, which I know many of them have a lot of potential, so I presume coaches will be good. I think they'll have the attitudes. Saw a great deal of improvement in all those areas. On the field, the one-loss record wasn't what we hoped it might be, but of course there was the stunning victory at Gorton. Also another great victory in the shadows of Eastchester High School just a couple of weeks ago. So those were fantastic memories for us. Another guys in the back, remember those? Gorton, right? Uh-huh. Well, anyway, I enjoyed working with this group of boys. They're a nice group of kids. There's some potential there. Debbie, we're going to be moving up to varsity next year, I'm sure of that. And improvement. We are building, as Mr. Holger said before, we are building a program, and I feel that the JV season really went a long way for accomplishing that. So let me at this time call up some of the players, all of them actually who are here. And as I do so, I'll say a little something about them. Let's see here. First is our catcher. He also pitched once in a while. Hit the ball fairly well. Our sort of pseudo team captain, Arthur Burns. Come on, Artie. He was a pseudo captain because he sort of appointed himself. Just kind of happened that way. Okay, the next young man led the team in hitting. He hit well over 400. He has tremendous speed on the bases. Need to work even more on his getting a good lead at the base. But anyway, he really hit the ball well, and he played the last couple of games for the varsity. And he really did an outstanding job for us this year. Doug Ebert. You go slower, Doug, you think? Okay, this next young man played first base for us, and he also was moved to the outfield when the need was there. Did a fine job in both spots and hit the ball very well for us. Peter Hose. These certificates are suitable for framing, as I said last year. Oh yeah. I don't want to find them in the driveway like I did last year. There are suitable receptacles out there. Okay, the next young man played third base for us, and he also pitched, and he hit the ball quite well toward the end of the season. Laird Johnson. Quite a few guys show up tonight. Okay, this next fellow played shortstop for us, did an excellent job. He also did a lot of pitching, threw a lot of innings, and had a little bit of arm trouble toward the end of the season, but did an outstanding job for us and hit the ball well too. Greg Messina. You gotta admire that haircut, though. I forgot to mention, Greg is a freshman on the JV team, which is a pretty good distinction. I think did very, very well. The next young man is also a freshman. We had two. Greg was one. This next young man is the other. He also pitched a great deal for us. Did an excellent job. Really improved as the season went along. Hit the ball quite well, I think, and played shortstop and third base. Very versatile, all-around player. Tremendous attitude. Adam Morgenthau. Saying things in my back, so I won't. Okay, and last but not least, we're doing this alphabetically, of course. Mr. Michael Shum. Come on up, Mike. Shum. said, I truly enjoyed working with the team this year, and I hope things can work out so I can be back next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, now, before we begin, I want to, Bobby? I'd like our assistant varsity coach to come up just for a moment. I know he's going to hand out awards and help Coach Carl, but before Coach starts, I'd just like you to, or have him say a few words to you. He's sort of an unsung hero. Not too many people know who he is or what he did. He arrived on the field every afternoon in a dedicated fashion without much fanfare. Helped to hone the skills that made us successful as a varsity program this year. And I truly mean that we were successful as a varsity program because they accomplished, they were over 500, got into the sectional playoffs with teams such as Eastchester, Ardsley, Portchester. It's a tough road to hoe in League 7. The cream of the crop in the baseball world in Section 1 seems to be in our league, our particular league. So it's tough to compete. We realize that. You're going to compete with good teams every time you go out on the field, and I know Coach will mention more about this later. But one of the reasons that we're able to do that is the instruction and the coaching that we get on the varsity level as well. And Bobby has a lot to do with that. So Bob Loftus, assistant varsity coach.
Really good season. Enjoyed coaching you. You guys really go on to college to play. It's a really good experience to play. I played 4 years of college baseball. Little league all the way up through high school. I think it's a good experience to play baseball, not only in high school and college. And some of you have great potential into college and play ball. That's all I have to say. Coach? Head varsity coach, Tony DiCarlo.
Bear with me, I'll try to be as quick as possible, but get to the point. I'd like to thank Mrs. Margoloff, Mrs. Blaney, and Mrs. Giacconi for this great affair tonight. I'd like to give you a round of applause for this great affair. I'd also like to thank at this time the principal of our high school, Mr. DiPalermo, for being here with us tonight. It's an honor to have you in our presence. And I'd also like to thank one of the people who I think is probably one of the best ADs in the county, and we're lucky to have this man, and that is Mr. Dick Coles. Big thanks a lot. And last but not least, the two most important people are you, the parents, that's on the freshman, JV, and varsity level, for giving your support and your time to get kids to practice, to get them home from practice, to make sure that they're doing their homework when they get home from practice, and for being there to support us, especially on the varsity level. I've seen a great deal of more fan support in the past couple of years, and I thank you, especially the senior parents, for being there through their freshman, JV, and high school career. And those freshman and JV parents who are coming up, we hope to see you at the games also. So parents, I thank you very much also. Now it comes to the task of briefly summarizing the varsity baseball season in 1988 at Byron Mills High School. And I think Dick touched on it a little bit. We have probably, and this is the truth, at the sectional meeting a week and a half ago was discussed, we have the toughest league in Section 1. There's no doubt about it. Eastchester and Ardsley played today the first game of the Section C championship, and Pelham lost the other day to Beacon in the semifinal. So there you have 3 out of the 7 teams in our league who are either semifinalists of the section or finalists in the section. So that's saying something. And for us to finish 7-6, which was tied for second place with Pearl River and with Pelham, is, I think, an outstanding accomplishment, something that I hope to build on here in the next couple of years. So I think that alone deserves a round of applause for our varsity baseball partners. sat down with Dick and I said, listen, I think it's necessary that we go out and get 24 baseball games, and that's the maximum number that the section allows. And I think we committed ourselves to doing that in the future. Now, what does 24 baseball games mean? Well, it's a lot of baseball games, if you think about it, in the months of April and May, and it's a lot of time, okay? But however, and the parents and the players know that we didn't play 24 games. We played, we were 11-9-1, we played 21 games, we didn't play 3 games. However, if we had only scheduled 20 games, we would have played 17 games. So those of you guys coming up on freshman and JV level see the importance of playing the 24 games. That means that we're going to be playing during vacation time. We did it this year, and believe it or not, we wound up going, I think, 2-1 during that week. Okay, and this is going to happen in the future. We're going to play during vacation week. You're going to be dedicated enough to play for us, which I hope you are, and you're going to be there to play. We're definitely going to be playing during vacation week, and it's important if you're going to make a commitment to be there. Our season started off on kind of a rocky road. We were up and down. We had some good wins, we had some bad wins, and we had some tough crossover games. We played Portchester, who was Section 1 champs last year, and they're vying for the sectional championship again this year. We were 2-2 in the 5th inning, and we fell apart. But again, that's indicative of some of the things that happened to us. We had some rotten luck during the year and some good luck during the year. Character-wise, there's only one team in the league to beat us twice, and that's 2-time state champion Ardsley. They beat us 1-0 on a tremendous pitching performance by Will Margoloff, and they came back and shellacked us the next game 12-0. But every other team we split with, and that's a tremendous improvement to be able to say, hey, listen, we lost to these guys yesterday, but we're going to come back and pick ourselves up and beat them again is an unbelievable accomplishment. And I'm proud of them for that. We had talked about during the season sweeping Rockland. And what does sweeping Rockland mean? In my coaching experience at Byron Hills, I've had a lot of difficulty with my teams in beating Rockland County. And I said to the guys, if we're going to be successful this year, we have to sweep Rockland. Well, believe it or not, we came close. We wound up going 3-1. We beat Pearl here on a bottom of the 7th inning base hit by Mr. Steve Matlin, beat them 4-3. And we swept Nanuet 3-0 and 2-1. And that in itself, I think, was a tremendous accomplishment. Overall, we finished up 11-9-1, and in league we were 7-6. We went to sectional play. We didn't fare too well, and the reason why we didn't fare too well is we're kind of a squad this year that had to play almost every day. The more we played, the better we were. We had played Eastchester on a Saturday, and then we came back the following Friday to play Horace Greeley. We had gotten rained out of 2 games. Albertus Magnus and Harrison, which we couldn't play because they had to have their league games, and then Westlake we got there in Port. So we were at a disadvantage as far as that goes, and we lost the game to a good pitcher. We pitched a good game. Will pitched a nice game. Their kid pitched a good game, and we didn't hit the ball. However, it's important to notice that that's the 3rd year in a row that we have made it to the sectionals, and that's something that I hope will continue in the following years. It is also important to realize that we were the 9th best team. Don't go by what the paper said, what the seedings were. We were the 9th best team out of 32 in Section B this year, which I think for Byron Hills is a tremendous accomplishment because not only are we offering a baseball program, but we're offering a lacrosse program. And to be number 9 out of 32, I think is a tremendous accomplishment for these young fellows. And now, I'd like to get to the certificates. Again, bear with me, I'll try to make it as simple as possible. The first young man who I'd like to present an athletic award to is a gentleman who knew ahead of time that I was going to bring him up and play as a sophomore. It's very difficult to come up and play from the freshman level to the varsity level. However, I do not believe in bringing up a sophomore if I'm not going to play. That's my philosophy. And I think it's important for you to realize that, and for me to realize that, because I'm not going to waste your time in the same way you shouldn't waste my time. I want you to be able to play because you're going to become better if you play. This young man was our shortstop for the entire year. And to be a sophomore and to play the shortstop position is a lot of pressure. I mean, those of you who are familiar with baseball and see him play on the college level and the pro level know the importance of shortstop. This young man also did some pitching for us. I expect that he will only improve in his next 2 years. He did a tremendous job for us at shortstop. Hung in there against Edgemont. We were losing to Edgemont. I think the score was 9-2, and Edgemont hadn't had a win all year long. And we got off to a shaky start, and I put this young man in. And he showed his character. He hung tough, kept the game close. We came back eventually to win the game, and he got the win. And this young man is Mr. Hayes Shem. Hayes? This next young man was a person in the beginning of the year who didn't see much action. We had a problem. We had a problem in the outfield. We didn't have a person to catch the ball in right field in the beginning of the year. And we just kept on working at it. And this young man realized what his role was going to be. He was going to be our designated fielder. And that's exactly what he did. He was a right fielder. He didn't bat that much during the season, but he accepted his role. And that's important, to realize that a team has to have certain players in it that might not be in action at bat all the time, but yet know what their position and their role is. And this young man did a tremendous job in right field for us the whole season, and I expect some terrific things next year, his senior year, and that is Chris Barron. Chris? This next gentleman came to us this year on the injury reserve list, where we had to put him on the 15-day disabled list. He had suffered an injury in indoor track. However, to go to show you, this young man really worked hard, and he came along and he developed, I think, tremendously. He was probably the most vocal and enthusiastic kid on our whole team. Those of you who watched the College World Series in the past, and it's going to be on this weekend, know about rally caps. Well, this is the young man who would always say to the guys on the bench, if it was a tough situation, we're down 1 or down 2-1, let's get the rally caps going. And he'd be going, hit, and get the guys all riled up. And this young man did a tremendous job for us, and I expect big things from him next year, and that is Howard Geller. Howard? This next young man, unbelievable dedication, and I know we didn't see that much playing time this year in front of another player. However, was at practice every day, worked hard. I think is going to be an asset to us next year, and I hope he feels the same way. Came in some tough situations, did some pitch hitting for us, pitch running, and did a great backup job at second base, and that's Mark O'Hanlon. Mark? These last two juniors, as you notice, I didn't go in alphabetical order as Coach Green did. And the reason why I'm saving these two juniors is because these two gentlemen will be the captains of the squad next year. These two gentlemen, as you'll find out later on in the awards, I think are going to be very key to our success next year. They were our second and third batters and our power hitters for the year. Both of these young men can hit a fastball with anybody in the county. If we could just get them to work on their curveball hitting for next year, I think we'll be okay. The first young man I'd like to talk about was brought up last year as a sophomore during the middle of the season. And to have that happen to you is a lot of pressure. And I think he handled it very well last year. He did a really good job in the field, and did a good job at the stick. This year, he had a little bit of his fielding problems, but he did a really great, tremendous job at the bat. I had a couple of coaches come up to me and say, this kid can turn a fastball like anybody else can in the county. I mean, he can roll the ball. I know we've had a problem about, and Coach Holz has heard this, about getting a fence up at the high school. I have news for you. If this gentleman ever had a fence to hit every game, he'd have about 8 to 10 home runs easily this year because he can't run. Okay? And that is Mr. John Feldman. John? And our other co-captain for next year, and this young man, I've had the privilege of, this is my second full year with him. Again, he was brought up as a sophomore last year and did a tremendous job for us. He knew what his role was. He has known what his role has been. He's been a solid catcher for us, has developed tremendously behind the plate. As I think one of the better arms in our league, he has a cannon, and if we can develop that even more, and he beat Eastchester this year, him and John. That's why I'm talking to you about these two gentlemen. As you know, Eastchester is now involved in the sectional championship. We had a tremendous pitching duel between Will Margoloff and Mike Morgan down from Eastchester, and it was nip and tuck. And in the bottom of the 6th inning, John came through with a big single, and Michael hit a shot, a triple over the left fielder's head to win the ball game. Again, this young man, when he gets a hold of the ball and puts his power behind it, can hit with anybody. If we can get him to be a little bit more consistent throughout the year, he'll be right up there amongst the leaders, I think, next year in the county. And that is a tremendous young man, and that is Mike Rizzo. Michael? And now we come to our seniors. And for some of these players, this will be maybe the last time they played baseball in their career. Some will be going on to be playing in college. I'd like to talk about each one of them. This is my 3rd year doing varsity baseball here at Byron Mills High School, and I can say very honestly that it's been one of the finest group of seniors to work with. Very dedicated, no problems as far as disruptions on the field go. There for practice, worked hard, and a really nice bunch of guys. It's important to realize that when you go on a trip to another school and you're on a bus ride, sometimes it could be very monotonous. But we all talk about giving games and sporting events and whatever, and I think a terrific group of senior baseball players this year here at Byron Hills. This first young man, I think, did an outstanding job, and I think has come a long way. I think he thinks so too. He won the job in left field. He did an outstanding job at the plate in the early season. The middle season had some big key hits, won the Pearl River game from us, had a couple of beautiful catches. Matter of fact, Eastchester coach said to me, the game we lost down there, he said, your kid made some catch on that ball in the bottom of the 7th inning that robbed the kid of probably a double in the game-winning hit. And I think this young man is going to have a great career at Michigan University, and I think a tremendous asset to that university and a great asset to our program this year, and that's Steve Matlock. Steve? What can I say about this young man? In the beginning of the season, wasn't playing baseball. He had an ability to probably go away on vacation, and knew that I was really adamant last year at the dinner about commitment, and said, hey, listen, coach, I'm going away. And I said, well, listen, young man, if you're going to go away, and you're not going to be committed to playing baseball, then I can't use you. Something happened, he wasn't going away, he decided to play baseball, and boy, did he do an outstanding job for us. Timmy C, I think in the beginning of the year was kind of leery of what kind of season he would have. And Timmy again knew his role. Timmy, we knew at about the 3rd or 4th game, he would be our designated hitter. He'd be called upon to come into a situation, get up to bat, and not be in the field. When I tell you about the last 5, 6, 7 ball games that he hit the ball solidly every game, had some key hits for us, hit a nice shot, double against Eastchester, had a couple of nice shots over Byron Hills, and did an outstanding job as our designated hitter, and I think did a tremendous improvement from his junior year to senior year, and that is Timmy C. Tim? This next young gentleman had a at the end of the season was sick for a while for us. But again, did an outstanding job. Was called on at times to come in and do some relief pitching. Did a nice job at first base where he wasn't accustomed to. When Kevin Giacconi pitched for us, Mr. Violari filled in at first base, and I think did a very admirable job. Had some key base hits for us. We finally, I think, towards the end of the season, got him to hit to pull the ball. At the beginning of the season, all he'd do was go to right field, but he went to right field with power. He had a couple of nice shots against Pella, kept us in a couple of ball games, and I think, again, an outstanding young man who I'm sure we'll find next year, and that is Rob Violari. Rob? The last three gentlemen that I'd like to talk about are our tri-captains for this year. The first young man that I'd like to talk about, I had the pleasure of coaching him on the JV level and the varsity level. He was like our jack of all trades this year. He'd be playing second base, third base, shortstop, center field, and I know at times was a little bit annoyed with being Coach Loftus. But I think realized towards the end of the year that wherever he was needed in a given situation, he accepted the role and did an outstanding job, both in the field and towards the end of the year at bat. Always at practice, always gave 100% of himself. Again, I think he's going to be a tremendous asset to whatever university he's attending. I'm not sure, I don't want to mention it. And that is Dan Blaine. Dan? The second captain I would like to talk about is a young man who, again, I've had the opportunity of coaching not only on the varsity level but on the JV level, and I think has grown tremendously, not only as far as baseball skills go, but has grown as a young man. I consider him probably the leader of the team this year. He's a young man who always was up, always tried to keep everybody else up on the squad. Pitched in some bad luck. I mean, believe it or not, his win-loss record doesn't show how well he pitched. The Eastchester coach said to me in the game that he had lost down in Eastchester that it's one of the best kids he's seen done a pitching performance this year. However, he had some rotten luck. We just didn't field behind him at times, and we didn't hit behind him at times. But did an outstanding job for us at first base. Making some key plays and pickups, and did a good job for us at the plate, moving runners over, and in the Greeley game had a couple of really nice shots. And I'm sure this young man will do very well in his college career, which will be down in Florida. And I think a fine young man all around. That is Kevin Giacconi. Kevin? This last young gentleman, I'll go into talk about more later on, but again, this is a young man who I brought up as a sophomore and realized his role as a sophomore. He was kind of the guy who carried the water around, carried the bags around, and did some pitching for us. He won our sectional game as a sophomore against Nyack, and didn't bat that much. Last year, he had a very good year pitching, and started to hit towards the end of the year. And this year had a phenomenal year, both in the mound and at the plate. I'll go into a little detail about that later, but I think a young man who Byron Hill should be very proud of, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. And I think a young man who will not only be an asset to Hobart, which he'll be going to next year, but be an asset that we're going to hear a lot about, an asset to Hobart, and somebody we're going to hear a lot about. And when we hear about him, we'll think of he went to Byron Hills High School and was one of the better ball players that we've produced here in a while, and that is Will Margolo. Will? We had the fortunate this year to be 7-6 in the league, and for that, I think we proved to all the other league coaches that Byron Hills baseball is kind of implanted in here. We were fortunate enough to place 3 players on the honorable mention All-League team and 1 player on the All-League team. First player that was given honorable mention All-League for League 7 is a young man who I've talked about already as far as his leadership on the field and his leadership in getting us involved, getting up for games. He had a 2.60 earned point run average, which is outstanding. We just let up behind him, did an excellent job in the Eastchester game, did a great job for us at first base, and this is Kevin Giaccone. Kevin? I guess these next two gentlemen are like Abbott and Costello, in that size-wise they're about the same, curveball-wise they're about the same, fastball-wise they're about the same, and batting average-wise they're about the same. Michael and John were a point apart as far as batting average goes. In RBIs, they were nip and tuck with 17 and 18. I think Michael maybe might be just a little bit more faster than John, but otherwise, these 2 gentlemen, I talked up a lot at the meeting, and I said, barring anything as far as injuries go, I think they should be probably one of the 2 top players, with the exception of a couple of kids from ours that come back next year in our league. I'm expecting big things from them next year, and I know some of the other coaches are, and that's John Feldman and Michael Gazzello. Trick is right. This next young man was our All-League player this year, and reason for getting All-League is that his pitching record was 7-3 during the voting, excluding the Greeley game. With a 1.36 ERA, over 123 strikeouts, batting close to 450. That alone tells you why this young man made All-League, and that is Will Marveloff. Will? MIP is the most improved ball player, and that's given to somebody who me and Coach Field has improved not only this season but over the course of his high school career. This young man, I thought, did an outstanding job for us throughout the season. As I had mentioned before, knew what his role was and really helped us out in the latter half of the season hitting the ball. And this young man, I'm glad came out to play baseball for us this year, and that is Timmy C. Tim? The next award is, I think, a very high honor to receive as an athlete, and that is the Coach's Award. And this goes to the young man who we feel has brought not only his athletic ability into the field of play, but his enthusiasm, his caring, and his constant supporting, not only of the players, but of the coaches, and trying to keep everybody involved and everybody up in the game. And I think this young man has come forward in leaps and bounds, both athletically and in maturity, and that recipient of the 1988 Byron Hills Baseball Coach Award is Kevin Giaccone. Kevin? but not least, I'll tie these all up in one so we don't have a problem. This young man, I think, and I know all the coaches feel the same way, he's probably one of the best pitchers in Westchester and in the section this year. I talked to you about his strikeouts. He had over 130 for the year. Was 7-3, could easily been maybe 9-1. We had given him some support, started hitting the ball. But the most important thing is to realize to receive the next two honors is something special, because as Coach Holzer has mentioned, as I have mentioned, our league is the toughest league in the section. This young man garnered the Player of the Year in League 7 and the Pitcher of the Year in League 7, and was also voted to the Sectional Baseball Team of the Year, and of course is our MVP of the year, and that is Mr. Will Margolis. Will, again, I'd like to thank all the athletes, freshmen, JV, and varsity, their parents, Mr. Palermo, my wife for her support, and especially Bob Loftus. Bob did a tremendous job this year. I think we had a great relationship. At times, we worked the kids hard. At times, we had some fun. But all in all, I think we both had a tremendous experience with these young men, and we hope the seniors who go on to school, we wish you the best of luck and the best success in your college careers and through life. And we thank the senior parents for giving your time and your love and support to Byron Hills Baseball. Thank you very much.
All right, I want to congratulate all our award winners. I want to thank Tony and Bobby for doing an excellent job this year, and all the coaches. You can see why the program is the class program that it is, and that's because of the character and quality of our coaching staff. To the seniors especially, I want to thank your effort. You've come through the program now for 4 tough, grueling years. You certainly paid your dues, and you deserve all the honors and accolades that you've been given tonight, and thank you very much for your efforts. You leave a good legacy, a tremendous legacy, and a tremendous tradition for these guys out here to follow. And we hope they learned something from watching you tonight, from watching you on the field. So we thank you for that as well. Parents, thank you very much for your support. We can't do any of this without you, and we really mean that. We need your help all the time and constant guidance and support of your athletes on the field and at home and in school as well. So thank you all very, very much for coming. We appreciate you spending the evening with us tonight, and have a safe trip home. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, before you leave, could you bear with us just one moment more? The captains would like to say a few things before we go. Gentlemen?
I was talking for Dan and Kevin. Just like to thank the coaches for, a great season. I mean, they worked our team into, a winning mold, and it's, really good to know that, they're appreciated by all section and all league and all this stuff. And we just like thank the parents and the coaches and everybody. And we have some presents for coaches now. They don't want to come up. They're really not open.
Big moment, gentlemen. You kidding? You want me to say something? Of course. You're on, Tony.
We just want to thank the coaches for giving us a pretty good year. We had a losing record, but I mean, we had a lot of fun, and that was the main thing. I mean, I'm not really good at this, and I'm kind of nervous right now. But I just want to thank you very much.
In the beginning of the year, our team really didn't have the attitude that we needed, and Coach Fromm and the Jazzmeister really gave us that extra support that we needed to come back and make ourselves into a good-looking team. So we're going to do well in the future. Thanks.
We'll see you later. Okay, players and captains, thank you very much. Again, you can see the class of the individuals that we have in the program. We're going to do well in the next few years. So, again, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next year.